Hello, everybody. It's the Heroes Lounge Epic Cup Day. Dun, 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 dun. And joining me here today, it's Yosh.
Hello. I guess good afternoon. Yeah, we're gonna cast some matches today. In fact, some match.
Yes, we are indeed. And so we are kicking off the quarterfinals of the Heroes Lounge Epic Cup with Sloth Sanctuary versus Team BabyRage. However, before I talk too much, we're actually going to start the draft already because it's kicking off already. The action's going very fast, unlike the match that we were supposed to cast 40 minutes ago. Sorry for the delayed start, everybody at home, but there was a forfeit by one of the teams, leading to a delayed
By
start
the
of the
team
stream.
focus, Morales gets focus, which means that Treehouse game in the semi-final waiting for their opponent.
That's absolutely right. And so now what we're going to be casting here is Sloth Sanctuary versus Team BabyRage. Now, as we go into the draft here of game number one in this best of three on Dragonshire, what do you know about these teams, Josh? Like, how did they get here?
Now, I do believe that Sloth Sanctuary were the team that won their group, so they moved over from seed 1, which is interesting since both of them are pool 2, being 6th and 7th in Division 4, respectively. Now, there are some interesting bans that I would like to notice. For example, Team BabyRage has attracted a lot of Chan bans against them with 18 so far. And perhaps what is my favorite stat for now is that Team Sloth Sanctuary actually has 7 Alrak bans against them, despite never playing Alrak in a launch game.
They've never played Alarak, but it's been banned against them non-stop. Now, do you think that's targeted, or do you think that's about the kind of just
I
Alarak being
mean,
strong in the meta?
Alarak has seemed pretty strong in games where I've managed to play against him, which were mostly Storm League because in lower divisions not a lot of people care to learn such a hard hero to play. But Alarak is in full bloom here in higher divisions of launch. So yeah, Johanna will be the first pick from Sanctuary, which is correct, seeing that they have picked Jojo 10 times already during this season. It's our most picked hero, in fact.
Jojo, yeah, well, she's just a strong all-round tank, and you can see with the ETC ban, they're obviously thinking about, how do we, um, how do we prioritize tanks on the draft? Obviously, a little bit of a focus on Garrosh there, which, Garrosh doesn't see as much prioritization these days as he maybe used to, particularly in the lower divisions, but still a decent tank and one who can be a real threat to enemy teams.
Garrosh isn't really picked that much by Team BabyRage, but he's up there if you include 7 bans in addition to 8 picks that I have made so far of this character. I do certainly like Garrosh. It's a pretty strong hero which can force engages and can single out opponents for a stunlock chain pretty easily.
Hmm. Okay, so let's let's see. I mean, so the Jaina and the Rhaegar. Now that's kind of a very burst focused idea. You got the burst healing protection from Rhaegar and the burst damage from Jaina. I guess the idea there, Rhaegar wants to cleanse people who get thrown in by Garrosh.
And
Malfurion, by the way, is still open.
probably ancestral as well, because let's be honest, if you're picking Gershons and not using burst to kill the targets that Gersh throws, that you might be throwing more than Gersh.
That's absolutely true. I've we've got some inside knowledge from the chat there. Peter in the chat who is not playing at the moment for Sloth Sanctuary, but does normally. He's saying it's his most played hero, or it's one of his most played heroes, and that's why it's been banned versus them typically. But he's not playing here today, which is why the Alarak's been allowed through.
Yeah, that seems pretty accurate so far. Now, We have the Haka band, a bit of a focus on the offlane now that I think about it from Team BabyRage with both ETC and the Haka band out. But Leo is open yet, and they have, and Sloth Sanctuary have 10 Leo picks so far. Now, Chen is an interesting idea because Team BabyRage have 18 bands of Chen against them, which is, don't think you would have accumulated that many bands if you don't know how to play the hero.
No, I mean that's that is definitely something that they're probably confident on, and the Chen, a Chen in the right hands can be devastating. So I think that probably Sloth Sanctuary are feeling a little bit cautious about the Chen. And by the way, there's the Valor to be a battery for that Oriole, played by Flippers there. So all in all, a well-rounded draft for Team BabyRage. I mean, gut feeling, who do you think comes out better of this draft so far?
I'm not really sure, but I do believe that Vola Oriole combo is pretty strong, and if Jekin's Chen is as good as like it to be, then Leoric might be in a bit of a danger now.
Yeah,
I think the winner in this match will certainly be the Yosh, which is signified by the ultimate portrait synergy of 10 combat murky portraits.
Yes, they have 10 column. I mean, the viewers can't see this right now on screen, but it's I can assure you the portrait game is on point from these teams. Great stuff from them, and we love to see it. We love to see a bit of portrait game. I think that's something that we always makes for a nicer experience. Right, so I think we're almost ready to go into game number 1. So just for viewers who've maybe just tuned in, maybe don't know what the hell is going on, this is the Heroes Lounge Epic Cup. It's the teams from Divisions 5 and 4, and they are going in a a knockout final 8 tournament here, the knockout playoffs. And we are ready to start game 1 in this best of 3 quarterfinal.
So yeah, on the left side we have Sloth Sanctuary on Leoric, Typhoon Hawk on Chaina, Paradox playing Johanna, Minty on Junkrat, and Tiny Owl jumping around on a Rega.
And in the red corner for Team BabyRage, we have Yakin on the Chen, Zooaesthetic on the Garrosh, Misandai on the Oriole, Flippers on the Vala, and Ramax on the Sylvanas. And there's a lot of chat from these teams already.
Dragon Shah has been proclaimed the best map in the game, so the chat game is on. And it's certainly refreshing to see the teams starting the series off without any cheese strategies so far. I mean, it's a pretty strength in that mid lane brawl, even if Paradox is getting a bit trolled.
He should be okay for now because being joined. Oh, lovely blind there from Paradox to secure that escape. Level 1 talent, by the way, Joanna going for the hold your ground, which is kind of the most common talent you see for Joanna at level 1, especially against those kind of lockdown comes from Garrosh. But at the higher level, at the top level, the players tend to prefer, from what I can tell, they tend to prefer the kind of the Laws of Hope. But the first kill was secured on Junkrat there by Team BabyRage.
A little bit too far, I imagine, getting thrown by Kharis and whipped into a wall by Oriole. So that's certainly an interesting combo which I haven't looked enough at in the draft, but I'll be interested in how well it will perform.
So the transparent there cheekily asking, do I have to be impartial as the moderator, because for viewers who might not know, that the blue team Sloth Sanctuary, they've got a lot of kind of staff members and board members of Heroes Lounge. So it's definitely a team of people who are very involved in Heroes Lounge, kind of core members from a long time ago. And maybe that's slightly intimidating for Team BabyRage, but they don't look too intimidated so far, as they've got full control of both the top and the bottom shrine.
Unfortunately, that means that the control of the mid lane is sleeping, so that will means that the Dragon Knight evades Team BabyRage so far, but the push on the bot lane is pretty strong and that can't be underestimated.
Yeah, those early giants are so impactful here, and I think that we're going to see a lot of these teams focusing on controlling those camps in the bot lane and getting continuous push pressure. Right now, though, Sloth Sanctuary going for the Bruiser camp that will put pressure on the top lane. So one advantage Lyric does have against Chen in the solo lane is slightly better wave clear, and we can see he's got Neil Peasants at level 4, which gives him even better wave clear and the ability to double soak top and mid lane if he wants to do so.
And that's a gank attempt from Tiny Owl and Typhoon Hawk. The Shaken will move away from it pretty quickly and without much danger, but the Bruiser camp that's moving in on the wall will provide much more pressure than he wanted.
In the mid lane, there was an attempt from Ramax to steal the Dragon Knight just in time, and Aesthetic on the Garrosh did something quite clever, which was to throw Joanna out of range so that she couldn't interrupt. However, the Shrine was just decapped in time, so that they couldn't secure that, as Sylvanas has to be careful and escape here.
Some clutch plays from both teams already, love it.
Yeah, great play from both teams, like responding to aggression on either side. And here's the thing about, divisions 4 and 5, because, I was telling somebody, yesterday about what to expect from this. Kind of individually, because of the way the MMR seedings, the teams might not be like the top master players because it's division 4 and 5. But the way these teams coordinate is really strong, especially when you look at some of these experienced teams, and when you're looking at the teams who make it to these playoffs. They've got here by coordinating together really well and having good strategic insight. And that's what we're seeing from both of these teams so far.
And that's a bit of a brawl in the bot lane as Flaps will move down to half HP, but will get saved and not in much danger so far. Interestingly, the Shrine is still in control of Team BabyRage, even though Sloth Sanctuary have a numbers advantage.
Yeah, they're really struggling to move. Can I say Garrosh's big aesthetic off the point? As Fleppers comes in, puts a bit of pressure onto Paradox, who doesn't have the Iron Skin available for now, but is okay. Sits back, has the heals available from Tiny Owl. So, yes, remarkably, as you point out, Team BabyRage able to just control these shrines pretty well so far. And sure, the wave clear's doing a good job here from Dentro's Lyric, but ultimately the shrine control looking very red so far this game.
Yeah, and you suddenly love to see it if you are the red team. Now, Ramax will try to cap, but he is interrupted again by the Johanna as Lyric takes top shrine to delay the attempt for a while.
But here's the thing, every time Sloth Sanctuary take their eye off the bottom lane, that Valet is pushing in, and look, they've already taken 2 towers so far. And basically by using the shrine more as a distraction, rather than as an actual, they're not actually taking the Dragon Knight, they're using it to force a response from Sloth Sanctuary in the mid lane and then put pressure in that bot lane. Great strategic play, and again the poke, like the Dragon Knight is being stalled out brilliantly by Sloth Sanctuary.
And we have to brawl simultaneously in the mid and the bot lane plays being forced all around the map, and Tiny Owl will actually move pretty low, as does Minty, but nothing bad will happen to them so far. Caster's curse, I guess, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was just going to say, a brilliant finish there from Fleppers, and of course Tiny Owl had spent her resources making sure she healed herself. So she had to, she was a very weak doggy there and had to run away. But the top lane brawl continues, which is between Dentro, Typhoon Hawk and Yakin, and Chen eventually has, can't 1v2 for that long. And has to sit back and give that top shrine over to Sloth Sanctuary.
Tiny Owl getting caught out in the bot lane while all of this is happening. Team BabyRage playing around their strength, noticing that 2 people are in top lane, which means we have an advantage in mid and bot, so let's force plays there, and they will. Taking down the wall as well.
Dentro's Lyric might die here. They've used the taunt to try and secure the kill. I think he's going to go down. Cheeky and Tomb. Oh, a lovely escape there from Dentro on 50 HP. I can't believe he survived that. And they used the Warlord's Challenge there from Garrosh to try to secure that kill unsuccessfully. And Dentro just says, no, look, you cannot kill that which has no life. And he just goes to the top to go back to soaking, which he's been doing phenomenally well at so far.
And Sloth Sanctuary finally managed to secure a shrine for longer than 10 seconds, with Chen not being able to respond to Dendro in the top lane so far.
Yeah, but again, every time Sloth Sanctuary take their eye off that bottom lane, it's just getting ground down. And so while the shrine control has been overall fairly equal, the overall pushing is got a slight lead. I think overall pushing and soaking has a slight lead for Team BabyRage, who are a little bit ahead in that XP, but is not insurmountable by any stretch. And now with this top camp pushing, maybe Sloth Sanctuary can get some value top. There's the Entomb onto Sylvanas. She's got to run away from there. In comes the Water Elemental trying to slow her. But the Chen, the Boogie Wonderland ult from Chen, the Storm, Earth and Fire, and he's turning this fight completely around. Now Jaina's under pressure. The Sylvanas comes out on the 500 HP to finish the kill. No, Typhoon gets away. Sylvanas has slightly overstepped. Been punished here for that slight insolence in trying to chase Typhoon Hawk's Jaina. So
both
that
teams
back and
biting
forth.
more than they could chew.
Yeah. A lot of biting off and not enough chewing. Oh, has Junkrat been caught? No. And Valas dived a little bit deep into this fort. Rip tire, rip.
Secures the kill, and Typhon Hawk is saved by a clutch Ancestral in the top lane, killing Chen in the process, and now Team Sloth Sanctuary finally managed to find an advantage in the top lane for which they have been searching for the entire game.
Yes, I think this should be a Dragon Knight secure for the Sloth Sanctuary. Yes, they picked it up. It's so hard to keep track of everything so far in this game. And by the way, Sylvanas gets entombed again. Dentro cuts her down to a quarter HP, but Oriel is there to back her up. Because this fight is just top and bottom all the time. We need like a split screen system or something. But this is phenomenal, phenomenal action from both of these teams. Really trying to play the map as it's designed, top and bottom, stretch it out. And with neither team having a global, it's very much about who can rotate and outsmart the enemy in the rotations. And oh, wow, Lyric gets thrown in, but manages to press his Wraith Walk before the Warlord's Challenge hits. So Warlord's Challenge wasted.
Rejoice, Kharis, your prayers were answered as the Dragon Knight is taken and all the action consolidates in one place on the map. For now.
So, having said everything I said earlier about BabyRage having got a lead in the push and the soak, that's been completely flipped around by Sloth Sanctuary. As soon as they got those 2 kills, they've turned that into 2 forts, which is very impressive. Of course, with the help of the objective.
Yeah, throwing some small mistakes made at the same time into a huge difference. That's something that teams at this elo are pretty strong at, just snowballing the small advantages that they get. That's the power of teamwork, I guess.
Yep, it's the power of friendship. Yes. So the team BabyRage, seeing that Lyric was in the top lane, brought the aggression to the bot lane. I like that play there from BabyRage. They know how to take advantage when Sloth Sanctuary is split. Oh, is this an engage though? The Entomb is available, puts the Entomb onto Oriel, but she's used the Crystal Aegis onto Valor, who gets thrown to safety by Aesthetic. Lovely Warlord's Challenge onto 3 members here. Garrosh though, has he bitten off more than he can chew? He's gone down, and this is not quite the fight that BabyRage were looking for.
Not quite the results that Sloth Sanctuary were expecting as well, but they won the fight, so it's pretty good for my standards. Now the attempt to steal the siege camp will end up in disaster as Leoric falls down, and steal isn't successful as well.
Yeah, spreading a little bit too thinly there by Sloth Sanctuary, because they both tried to take this bottom bruiser camp, which they did successfully, and invade the siege camp there, and that was just a bit too thin, and ultimately they paid the price in Leoric's life. But here's Leoric, and he'll be back soon.
I don't think the problem was in Sloth Sanctuary being too thinly spread. The problem was in Team BabyRage managing to assess the situation correctly and go all in on that one play, which was the siege camp. Without, spraying over to take the bruiser camp, which they are taking right now as the Sloth Sanctuary, or moving into fight for the bot camp, which they wouldn't have won.
Yeah, and so it's actually... Oh, hang on, this is actually a rotation on top as well. Are they trying to gank Leoric? They've tried to gank Leoric a lot this game, more than you might expect, because given that he's Leoric and he comes back so easily. And he's doing a pretty good job of just saying, I don't really care about your gank attempts. I'm just rotating and soaking. So nice play from Dentro there on the Lyric.
Meanwhile, Vala, who was so strong in the early game, now getting pressured out by the 5-man of Sloth Sanctuary with...
Yeah, this Entomb is... Oh, into the fray from Aesthetic to save Vala's life. That's a lovely play. And the taunt onto Dentro might kill him under these towers, followed up by the Rain of Vengeance from Vala. Yeah, that will secure the kill.
And Ancestral goes just wide as well. That's a bit of a tilter, but... Flaps proving that he's still scary, no matter the amount of people sent to kill him.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like the perfect engage there by Sloth Sanctuary because they threw the Blessed Shield and the Riptire onto Vala. And, you know, the thing with Riptire is when the Aegis is pressed on Vala, you know, Junkrat just said, look, I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait, and I'm not going to pop the Riptire until I have to, until your Aegis has ended. But phenomenal into the fray from Kharis.
That team BabyRage manages to sneak away the Dragon Knight. That's a lot of pressure potentially. Let's see how they will.
Yeah, it's a 13-minute Dragon Knight, so could be a lot of pressure here.
I mean, this was a pretty clutch steal as well, with Leoric being on 1 second on the killer resurrection, which would have probably been enough to delay the attempt, but Shen was fast enough, so the port will fall down now, as does
Joanna. Yeah, a beautiful Warlord's challenge to secure the kill onto Joanna, and that allows them to domino it onto a Lyric kill as well. I like that initiative from BabyRage there, and now they're looking for Jaina as well. The Unstoppable, can they catch the throw? That cleanse from Tiny Owl saved Jaina from being thrown, and now Aesthetic a little bit far forward. Yeah, so it was a phenomenal attempt for a play from BabyRage, knowing as the Dragon Knight was going down that maybe Sloth Sanctuary was stepping a little bit too far forwards, and they weren't frightened to punish the main tank Joanna, as we saw there.
And the ability from these teams to snowball the advantages that they get is just something absolutely terrifying to watch.
Yeah, it's brilliant play from both these teams so far, and with what we're seeing is whoever gets killed is consolidating that into a very decisive advantage. So far it's fairly neck and neck on the forts. I mean, you'd say technically there's a 1 fort advantage for BabyRage, but come on, there's not much left on that fort right now.
908 HP is not 0, so
it's true, and that means crucially that it's not giving the bonus XP. So there's a slight gradual XP lead coming in for BabyRage, and that could make the difference because these teams are so close in experience. It could make the difference in getting BabyRage to level 20 before Sloth Sanctuary. By the way, look where Dentro is soaking. He's just out there in the wilderness saying, look, I've got to get this soaked. We've got to get towards that level 20. Quarter of a level lead now, maybe a third of a level lead for BabyRage as the Sylvanas disables the fort.
Shohana goes in, takes an amount of damage, but the Iron Skin is on, I'm sure. Riptide goes out.
Chen uses a stagger to block a lot of that damage. Vala goes in, chasing the Lyric, who presses the tap. He's okay for now. But this is the thing. BabyRage do not want this fight. This is the fight the Sloth Sanctuary want because it's pre-20. Garrosh has to be careful. He's gone in very deep. Used his Indomitable. He's got nothing left. The Aegis comes out from Oriel to save him. Chen pops the ultimate. Boogie Wonderland goes in, tries to cause havoc. Jaina uses the Ice Block to hide. The Garrosh, though, he's being so locked down, so torn, and he's gone down. He's the first to fall in this very hectic fight as Fleppers chases on, looking for Typhoon, but kites him away, and Vala goes down next.
And everyone survives on the side of Sloth Highlights. Sloth Sanctuary so far, I'm sorry.
Eventually Dentro on the Lyric did die, but he's the least impactful death, and for that they've got 5 kills, I think. Is it a 5-man team wipe? Yes, it is. Team BabyRage is on the deck.
That is just really impressive. They all stayed on barely no HP.
Perfect knife edge play from Sloth Sanctuary there. Just they knew that they had to go in before level 20 and press the advantage, but they were taking damage, but just about managed to draw it out. And particular credit to Typhoon Hawk on the Jaina, who was kind of going toe to toe with a Valor and really dancing around and kiting that.
Yeah, finally produced an engage that Chen simply couldn't drink away, and collecting a Dragon Knight with the fight win. So I imagine that will be at least one keep down here. Probably
I
a
think it
more.
may well be, as this. I mean, let's see. This Dragon Knight goes in. It's gonna secure this keep probably, as you say. I don't think it can end the game at all because it's already on half HP, and every member of BabyRage is alive again. But bearing in mind that BabyRage had the hang on. They're still going and they have Giant. I don't think they can end unless Dintro gets a massive Entomb here. That's what he's flanking, looking for. Can he catch someone with that buried alive Entomb?
Yeah, the level 20 Entomb are absolutely devastating if you manage to hit them, but it will be a pretty hot option to go for with Chan and Vala and Sylvanas providing so much mobility for the team. With Oriel and Garrosh to secure to deal a bit for the carries.
Okay, so everyone's calmed down a little bit. Ultimately, a keep is not the end of the game, and in fact, maybe it looks like BabyRage want to go and take a keep in response. They have the Sylvanas, they have the Siege Giants. I'm not sure how easy it is to stop them except with that horrendous Junkrat poke. Garrosh doesn't get the throw. Yes, he does. Where's Joanna gone? Joanna's been 100-0'd, absolutely deleted. I mean, from full health to nothing, phenomenal.
Not even able to press the Iron Skin as well, that's gonna be
And
something that...
I mean, I guess, yeah, I guess he's regretting not taking the indestructible at level 20 now. I mean, you know that. Hindsight's 2020, of course. Chen goes in, maybe thinking about looking for an engage here. Can he get his Boogie Wonderland off? No, because of silence.
That's
but the jump
alive from just chance. That's not the ult that they were looking for, as Dantron and Tiny Owl will both fall back from Fog joining them, and that's a GG call.
Yeah, it looks like game number 1 going over to BabyRage with a phenomenal series of plays. I think just that kill on Joanna is ultimately what secured that, and obviously Joanna was thinking, you know, look, I'm Joanna. I mean, it's not. I can, yeah, I'm not, you know, I can be upfront, but wow, 100-0.
I think this the play that absolutely sealed the deal was trying to use Entomb on the Chen instead of any backline targets.
Well, I don't know if you noticed as well, but he got mined out of there by Junkrat as well, which ended in a silence. And I think maybe that was not quite the coordination they were looking for on Sloth Sanctuary.
Team BabyRage absolutely proving why Chen has acquired 18 bans throughout the season. I don't think they will see him for the rest of this series.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think that's going to be a ban against them. But game number 1, yep, was won by Team BabyRage. And it is a best of 3, so that means if they win game number 2, they are through to the semi-final of the Heroes Lounge Epic Cup. You're watching Kharis and Yosh for the second quarterfinal of the Epic Cup, and coming up after this, we will have the semi-final on the not on this channel, it'll be over on the main channel, Heroes Lounge. I was going to say Heroes Lounge 1, but it's just called Heroes Lounge. And you can see more of the schedule on heroeslounge.gg/calendar. There's more stuff there, or join our Discord if you're not in it already.
And so, sign up for season 11 because there's no reason to not do that.
Absolutely, right. Season 11 signups are still open for another week. You've got 7 days left to sign up, but get it in now. What the hell are you waiting for? To quote Linkin Park. So that was phenomenal from both teams, and it looked like we remember when we saw that 5-man team wipe against by Sloth Sanctuary against BabyRage, and we thought this could be it, but no, ultimately a big defense and a big turnaround from BabyRage, and just waiting for that Garrosh pick, showing why they valued the Garrosh, just to find that Joanna, the taunt to lock down, and the damage. I love that coordinated damage. You love to see a tank just get 100 nilled.
And funnily enough, I think it's a bit of a tale of determination, because even if Garrosh managed to fail his first combo on Johanna with the Q going wide, we saw that one. He managed to find the throw anyway, which was enough to burst down the tank and provide that crucial teamfight advantage that he properly used to secure the map.
So I think for game number 2, we are going to go to Towers of Doom. Now, what do you make of that? That seems like it could be a very interesting map.
I mean, it's not that surprising that Team BabyRage picked Towers of Doom, with it being their third most picked map. Behind, Infernal Shrines, which were banned, and Dragonshire, which we just saw. Yeah, it's a very interesting map, a very teamfight oriented map, a very double soaking map for offlaners. So I think Leoric will be banned.
Yes, I think Leoric could well be banned. Chen, as we've talked about, has got to be considered there for bans, for sure. I don't know what else. I mean, you might see more kind of macro focused bans as well. Maybe a Dahaka, maybe an Abatha. But I think one thing's for sure is that this is going to be a close game number 2, because it was a very close game number 1.
It will certainly be really close. And the things that I want to point out is that Towers of Doom is a map that's even more comebackable than Dragonshire. So
yeah, Towers of Doom is really never over until your core is on 0 HP.
We just won't get a break until the core falls.
Exactly.
Knowing these teams, it might be longer than we expect. Yeah, this will be a really interesting match. Now, some of the bans that I think are interesting to look at is Falstad actually acquired 5 bans against Team BabyRage, as is Kira, with the newest hero in the Nexus not being that played so far, but already acquiring 6 bans from against Team BabyRage, which kind of proves a point, but also is probably not what Sloth highlights will go for, considering that Kira has only 25% win rate for the red side. Now,
sorry, viewers, I did misinform people because I said sign-ups close in 1 week, but apparently they actually close in 2 weeks, in the 17th of November. So a good rule of thumb in casts is never to listen to anything I say, because I'm usually wrong. Let's go into the draft in game number 2 in this best of 3 quarterfinal. On the left, it's Sloth Sanctuary, and on the right, it's Team BabyRage and Gul'dan getting the priority in the bans again.
I mean, it's a pretty strong hero. It's the most picked hero from Team BabyRage with 10 picks. And yeah, it's just a really strong, solid teamfight mage, with this map being accented on teamfights more than macro. I certainly think that Gul'dan would be a ban that you'll like to have.
So there's a question from the chat. Does any of the teams play Gazlo? As far as I know, I mean, I'm looking now briefly.
Unfortunately, neither of them.
No, but we have seen a Lost Vikings and a Samuro throughout the season from Sloth Sanctuary. So that could be a curveball.
Having a bit of fun with our picks, I see. I don't think that Lost Vikings will break open on Towers of Doom. I can see Samuro though, and that would be a pretty interesting pick.
I think Samuro could be a threat, yeah. Now I wonder who plays it for Sloth Sanctuary. Is it Dentro, or is it maybe Pitor, who's not here?
Now, Yosh is getting banned, which leaves Chan open, which is suddenly interesting to see. Now,
Could they first pick the Chen, do you think, as a sort of as a steal tactic? No, going for the Falstad, prioritizing that macro, the global play. So probably not going for a Sombrero after that, I imagine. Well, they still absolutely could.
I mean, with Leoric open, I think that Sloth Sanctuary has their offlane preset, as Leoric is pretty strong on this map, even though his gameplay is not really interesting, as he just double sold for the entire time. But yeah, Johanna Sylvanas will be the pick, not changing their strategy way too much from the first game so far. But they will have to adapt, as Kharis is already banned.
They will indeed. Right, we are looking at a Muradin pickup for the tank. So yeah, I mean, not many tanks left. I mean, you know, the ETC Joanna tend to be the main prioritized tanks, and obviously Garrosh we saw getting value from Aesthetic last game. This time Aesthetic getting the Joanna, which leaves Paradox to play Muradin.
Not a tank that you usually see. There is an amount of advantages that he can bring to the table. Now, as we get to the third ban, I imagine Team BabyRage will be content with banning Leoric, which will provoke a chat ban in response, but let's see.
Malfurion there. That's a reasonable pickup from them. I mean, is that a reasonable ban there to stop them to kind of deny support? And of course, with the first pick now on the side of BabyRage, they could pick up a Rhaegar and really prioritize that. But going for the Oriole ban, I guess we saw the Oriole get a lot of value there last game.
Yeah, Voila Oriole was the thing that won Team BabyRage the early game, in my opinion, and Sloth Sanctuary just a bit afraid to let the early game go on this map, which can go a bit more explosive, I believe. And yeah, you are correct in your assessment, as Rhaegar is being picked away from the launch team.
Yeah, teams tend to prioritize Rhaegar and Malfurion as the kind of top two supports at the moment, and obviously we saw Oriole get banned there. I think there's still options here. I mean, you could well take an Anna, for example, and then you've, as well as having the deny on the Ancestral with the grenade, you've also got the nano boost for the Jaina. So Anna might well be the pickup here but instead going for the Deckard Cain. Stay a while and listen, and possibly to follow up that with a Ring of Frost. And again, Dentra on the Lyric, who provided so much value in game number 1, just in terms of the soak and pressure, more than anything else.
And there's just a lot of old men on the side of Sloth highlights with Deckard, Leoric, Murdin, and Falstad. That's kind of 4 out of 5. That is a stat that you don't hear about often. And Malphil will be the final pick, recognizing that Murdin and Leoric can get pretty tanky, and having that execute in fights will be pretty huge.
Yeah, and actually Deckard Cain can struggle a bit with dealing with last rites in terms of protecting for that. And on top of that, I think that the idea of the Malthael is also to prioritize the double soaking, which we're probably going to see Lyric and Malthael doing this across the top and mid lanes, basically for the whole game. So a good response there to the Lyric pick from Yakin.
Yeah, some nice adaptation from the teams as we are moving to the second map of this match, with Team BabyRage trying to secure their victory to move to the semifinals and just start preparing for their opponents.
Yes, and I'm trying to work out who they'll be against. I think that's not been decided.
The match is, I don't think it's been played so far.
Okay, so they're still
waiting.
waiting.
Either Die for Delete or China's a Frost Mage, and
oh, so they're still working on that. They're still playing that. But anyway, we don't have time to watch them because, of course, we're going into game number 2 in this best of 3 quarterfinal. In blue on the left It's Sloth Sanctuary with Paradox on Mirrodin, Typhoon Hawk on Jaina, Tiny Owl on the Old Man Deckard Cain, Minty on Falstad, and Dentro on the Lyric again.
And now without a garage, but with a strong determination to win this map and get it over with, we have Team BabyRage with Flaps on Greymane, Miss Andre on Rega, Yakin on Malthael, Aesthetic on Johanna, and Ramax on Sylvanas. Thank you for staying still so I could read your nickname.
And now, of course, the skirmish begins. And this time the talents are in the right place on the screen so they don't get a crossover. So we fixed some technical issues. So straight away, nothing untoward about the talents. I think fairly standard so far. Fealty unto Death from Lyric absolutely suggests that he's going to be double soaking and not really sitting in one lane. And Johanna, this Johanna prioritizing Lords of Hope, whereas the last Johanna we saw for the other team, which was Paradox, taking the Iron Skin instead. So definitely a different approach to playing Johanna, and I know that kind of the really top players do favour that Lords of Hope because it gives you more sustain, and then you're not using your Iron Skin for sustain, as Minty has to be a little bit careful on 1000 HP now.
Yeah, more. Both tanks are going in with more health-oriented downs for their level 1, but let's hold the thought as Sloth Sanctuary are moving in for a steal with the first kill on the Rega already, and the steal is successful, but will they move out safely?
They
Probably
won't.
not, as Flaps as he kills the Falstad, but he will be traded for the mistake of getting kills.
Is Dentro still alive? 45 HP? Yes, he is. Easy. But I mean, so 2 for 1 overall, although Dentro very nearly made it 2 for 2. But ultimately, the camp was secured. A lovely little invade there from Sloth Sanctuary, I think, as well as, you know, using that Falstad ability to just arrive and cause a problem. What amazed me about that fight as well is how both the solo laners immediately committed to that, and they were very quick to respond and get involved.
Yes, it was pretty well played, and I think the key to that invade was Lyric recognizing that Yakin will move to the top lane first because it clears away fast.
Well, they're doing the same again, but this time on the blue side of the map. Paradox falls pretty low, but he's going to jump out. He's going to third wind all that HP back. Dentro with the Lyric gets here pretty fast. Malthael as well, but Malthael goes down. I mean, so we're seeing a lot of aggression really from both teams and really committing for those camps, because this bot lane on Towers of Doom is so valuable in controlling the map as it goes forwards. They're not going to worry too much about altars. They're thinking about how can I get control of the bottom half of the map, where of course those sappers can ultimately give core pressure.
And so far everything comes up Sloth, as they are ahead 3 kills to 1. They have a 1 level advantage and they took both camps on the bot lane.
They have indeed, as Aesthetic goes in, tries to zone a little bit. The
Paradox will miss his delay, which prompts him to jump in, as the fight is definitely on, with Typhoon Hawk being the first casualty, Ramax following suit. Never mind.
Wow, it's 2-0 in the end in that fight, which surprises me because it looked like a good start for Sloth Sanctuary, but Mirrodin had to jump out and leave, of course, Jaina and Falstad vulnerable. Now, with this Sylvanas, they can start getting some value. The black arrows come out, disables the towers, starts rolling forward with that Greymane damage onto the towers as well. They should be able to get some value.
Yeah, Sylvanas is not a pick that we talked about a lot this series, I believe, but it has been absolutely crucial for the push-oriented strategy of Team BabyRage.
Yeah, and I believe, am I right in saying that Ramax is the team captain there on the Sylvanas? I think that's correct. But yeah, and so not just in this game, as you saying, in game number 1 on Dragonshire as well, when they got those camps in the bot lane, they were securing forts and keeps with them in game number 1 because of their Sylvanas pressure. And that forced certain kinds of aggression from Sloth Sanctuary. So,
and let's just notice that Malthael will actually move down to anchor the siege camp this time, as Team BabyRage are a bit afraid of the retake attempt from Sloth Sanctuary. Well played from Yakin.
So most of the talents are fairly ordinary so far. One thing I just want to touch on is the Rhaegar, played by Missandei here, going for the Wolfrun and Feral Heart, the kind of the wolf talents at level 1. Not going for some of the other maybe more popular talents, but they do work well, those wolf talents, but not going for that at level 7 because of course they need that cleanse to save people from the Muradin engages, such as right now as Ramax gets caught out.
Speaking about saving people, Ramax gets a bit caught out stunned and that, which allows Tiny Owl to get the bot all pretty easily, which will get distracted by Johanna, but I don't think it will. Oh, actually it will.
Yeah, I mean this is
Kharis in Sloth Sanctuary. Yeah. So far this game.
Yeah, this is a great aggression here from BabyRage, who forced this so long that eventually they've driven Sloth Sanctuary back. It looked like Sloth Sanctuary were just trying to say, look, we're capping the altar and we'll make a wall.
And the entire time Yakin was just 1v1 in Jaina in the mid lane, not allowing her to take this altar as well, which allows Team BabyRage to take both altars as face and steal the temple.
So they're now a full 12 core hit points in the lead here, BabyRage. And more, perhaps more crucially, they've got more control of this bottom lane, which is amazing if you think about how much they lost those early camps. But now with this Sylvanas pressure, Paradox has to be careful there, it's a little bit back. But now with this camp and the Sylvanas, this could well be the first fort going down in favor of BabyRage. No, the Jaina helps to clear everything out for now, but is certainly looking very vulnerable in the bot lane.
Now, what I hope that Sloth Sanctuary will try to do is just try to play a bit more around mid and top, try to force some forts down before they manage to get pummeled through the bot lane by the side of Team BabyRage, because these fights are not going the way that the moderators team wanted.
It's true. Level 10s are in though, and that might change things. Avatar for Muradin, Water Elemental for Jaina, Stay a While and Listen for Decocane, Entomb for Lyric, and Mighty Gust for Falstad.
Now, Team BabyRage will respond with Cast Bullet on the Greymane, Last Rites on the Malthael, Wailing Arrow for the Sylvanas, Ancestral Healing from the Rhaegar, and Blessed Shield from Johanna. Everything pretty normal, but the only choice that I can debate personally is probably that Water Elemental on Jaina.
So you think it might be better to have a Ring of Frost to follow up? Oh, here's an engage onto Muradin. Can they lock him down? Stay a while and listen. It's too late. Last Rites has already come out and finished off Muradin. Yakim might go in response though. He Ancestral hits onto Johanna, but of course the Malthael is already dead. So it's 4v4 now. Falstad looking to chase. Maybe Dentro's trying to get something here, but Johanna's Iron Skin's about to fall. Typhoon though, been bullied into a corner. Can he get away? Yes, he can by scaring off the doggy with a Blizzard.
And with the cast used, all 10 ultimates have been officially used, so yeah, here we go.
Yes,
now,
and
Sloth Sanctuary finally managing to turn the tables a bit, even if they lose the bottom tower, and I believe the altar as well. They managed to finally win a fight, which is pretty big. Now, what I think is would be my argument for Ice Elemental is for Ring of Frost, as it is the best way to wake up people from sleep, which can provide in a lot of ways, and it combos pretty well with Entomb as well.
yes, it does indeed. And I think that the Stay a While into Ring of Frost could have been a nice combo, but on the other hand, the Water Elemental provides consistent value. Here's a Stay a While and Listen, doesn't affect Johanna. She's got Iron Skin, that stops her from sleeping. The Gust into the corner though is absolutely savage, but Dentro's gone down. Look how low though the members are. Lyric's next to fall. Aesthetic falls down. Greymane's on the deck. Yakin, can you get in and do some value onto Tiny Owl? Malthael just about dies. Could have maybe got a kill before dying.
Everyone is low, which allows Ramax to get some value, but it won't be enough to secure the kills. And that's a full team wipe from the side of Sloth Highlands. Ultimates coming in clutch and turning the game around.
Phenomenal play there from Sloth Sanctuary, but also, I mean, very nearly went the entire other way. Like we saw Typhoon Hawk on the Jaina go down to 80 HP. The Rhaegar, played by Tiny Owl, No, Ray got played by Tiny Owl. The deck of Kane played by Tiny Owl went low as well. And basically, that whole fight could have completely turned around if there was 5% more damage from BabyRage. That would have been completely reverse.
And despite all of that, Team BabyRage taking an aggressive position on the altar, which
The
provoked the
lockdown!
reaction, and Paradox getting absolutely chunked away, but 3 ultimates used, was it worth it?
I hope some people are clipping these kills, because this is something that BabyRage look incredibly effective at, which is deleting tanks. Muradin was killed before he landed from his dwarf toss. Look, immediate blessed shield, immediate last strike, immediate burst damage from the Sylvanas. I mean, from
Yeah, just bullet last rights combo coming in clutch, proving that you don't have to not be full HP to get killed by last rights out of nowhere.
I have to say this is huge stuff from BabyRage, like their ability to just stop Muradin. And of course, the more they do that, the more he's going to think twice about engaging. But here he comes now, wants to make something happen, throws out a Stormball onto Greymane, to stay a while and listen, hits onto Rhaegar, who's been shredded down. Now Jane is starting to chase, looking for the Greymane, got the slows for days. Flippers turns around, can he finish off Typhoon Hawk? But the Ice Block hides, and it's Greymane who gets punished, and with the Gust to safety, that means Typhoon Hawk can start getting away.
Johanna tries to find the kills, but nope. And yeah, another engage that ended up not that well for Team BabyRage. Playing aggressive is cool and all, but sometimes it just doesn't really work out. And Sloth Sanctuary.
I was, at the start of that fight, I was about to say, is Paradox going to play more cautiously now that they've blown him up so effectively? And then he just jumps in, he gets a Stormbolt, and that's the initiation, with the help of a great stay a while and listen from Tiny Owl to secure a lovely advantage there in that fight. And of course, now the boss, and they're looking with the 16 to invade this top right altar.
They can blow him up twice in a row if the ultimates are on cooldown. Heal will manage to save his Shakin, but I don't think it's enough. But Muradin will fall down as a first casualty, followed by Sylvanas, and both fights get pretty low, but Sloth Sanctuary proven that they are again better on low HP than on full HP, as it seems.
Yeah, I mean, the Sloth Sanctuary probably should have started this game on low HP, because they're sort of playing better when they're on low, and when they've got that desperation. However, Muradin, they got BabyRage got that kill on Muradin, but it seemed to cost them so many lives. Greymane, the one consolation for BabyRage is Greymane did manage to secure that mid altar while that was going on, and that allowed them to bring the enemy core hit points down to 10. So it's not, there's not much left.
Team BabyRage will grieve a lot about the fights lost so far, because they still have a 16 HP advantage with the bot altar taken, which is huge, as it allows a siege camp that they just stolen pretty much straight into the car.
Yeah, and now it looks like they're all going to come and escort it. They need the level 16 first, though. Greymane goes in, tries to clear the wave to get the level 16 rolling in. Falstad flies down. This is going to be a fight right here, right now. Oh, dodges the Entomb with a lovely lunge there from Greymane. Lovely play from Flippers.
And while all of this was happening, Falstad secures the top fort, which gives the initiative back into the hands of Sloth, highlights, giving them the advantage on the future alpha phases, but will it prove enough to count the deficit?
Hang on, they're thinking about invading. I was assuming the game plan now for Sloth Sanctuary, we try to play for 20. They are 2 full levels ahead. So right now, BabyRage are thinking we've got to take this fight before level 20, because we can't, once it gets to level 20, we could be in real trouble. Sure, they've got a 16 core hit point lead that you were talking about, but that can easily disappear in the space of 2 altars and a keep or something. And there's 2 altars coming up now. This has to be the fight for BabyRage.
But BabyRage will just try to scramble to secure their thoughts that are now all under their control. And the altar phase is happening with equal traits so far, but Sloth Sanctuary looking to go aggressive on that one.
BabyRage just want to chip down that core hit points. Malthael taking a lot of damage out front. I don't think the Ancestral's going to be in time. He's gone down. The Ancestral is still available. Now the Stay a While and Listen doesn't connect into anyone because Joanna has the Iron Skin, but she's still a little bit caught out. The Gust away, and that means Aesthetic is completely on his own and destroyed.
Sloth Sanctuary just isolating the tanks away from the team and denying them any value by killing them instantly.
I really like that idea of, oh, Joanna, you've run into our team with Iron Skin. Well, I'm going to gust all your friends away, and now what's going to happen? But ultimately, that fight was lost because of the initial takedown of Malthael, who, again, just got isolated and destroyed before Rhaegar could even touch him.
Both teams proving how expertly they have, how great is their ability to dust down targets, as both tanks have been falling down from 100 to 0 in several times in these games, and in this game alone in particular.
Yeah, and this is the thing, is both teams have got this great coordination. It's like I was saying in the setup, you know, people think, oh, Division 4 and 5, maybe the players on, they're thinking the players aren't that strong or whatever, but these teams show incredible coordination and focus. And wow, Joanna, are you out of position? Are you going to be the next tank to get 100 0'd? The Iron Skin's gone down already. Can she escape? The Entomb's onto two members.
Entomb hits Sylvanas and Rhaegar, which Sylvanas will that get barred to death, literally and figuratively.
And Joanna's next as well, so that's two members down. The thing is, in the meantime, Malthael's desperately trying to soak 20. BabyRage know they need to give this bot lane away, and they need to give the next altar.
I don't think he will be fast enough for this altar phase, which means that the difference between core HPs will drop down to 3 with this altar taken.
Yes, it will, and that's going to be very close. And they have managed to clear these sappers, but there's another set of sappers coming in behind it. And what are they going to do about these three? So these three sappers are going in. There's going to be 5 core hit points taken off, and that equalizes the core health. Is 10 core hit points apiece for these teams in this game number 2 in this quarterfinal, the Heroes Lounge Epic Cup.
And now Team BabyRage has absolutely run out of advantages. The core HP is similar, they have less structures on the map, and the boss is being taken right now by Sloth Sanctuary, which will mean that they will start having an advantage on core health as well as levels.
The one redeeming feature about that boss for BabyRage is it's allowed them the space to get level 20, but they need just a few more seconds, and this looks like Sloth Sanctuary desperate for this engage. Malthael's not with them. They're split here. They're going to get cornered. If there's an Entomb here, it could be the end of the game. There's the wind tunnel. They're caught in the corner. Fleppers has gone down already. The silence, though, the silence is pretty huge onto the enemy team. There's the Entomb, though. The Entomb is going to surely catch Missandei. No. Manages to get the Ancestral out. Yakin still causing pressure onto Typhoon Hawk. Has the ice block, just about survives. Paradox trying to control Yakin for now. When with 2 members already dead, this is going to look very bad for BabyRage. It's a third gone down. Yes, Leorix died in response, but that's not the end of the world, I think, for them, with 3 members down on BabyRage. This is looking very good for Sloth Sanctuary right now, as we go into a double altar phase.
Malthael respawns, and yes, the initial catch on Greyman was absolutely the key to the fight, as last rights lose a lot of best potential without the cursed bullet to start the combo off.
Has Paradox survived? Aesthetic is tank versus tank again. Aesthetic went really low, but so did Paradox. But Paradox has the third win that's going to keep him tip top. Yakin, though, have you been caught out of position?
He misclicks his ultimate on Minty. That's a deal for.
This is looking rough here for BabyRage. Tiny Owl starts chasing. Deckard Kane really wants to catch this Sylvanas, stop her from taking an altar. And
Team BabyRage has to deny this altar for as long as possible, for if they don't do it, Sloth's highlights will actually win game 2. And we are getting serious.
Yeah, I think with that wind tunnel, that's secured game number 2, and it's going to be 1-1. Sloth Sanctuary have equalized in this best of 3 series.
What a game.
Again, just really really phenomenal performance here by both teams, and we're seeing really close games, and yeah, we love to see it. I have to say, we love to see it.
Now, comparing this game with Game 1, in both games, Team BabyRage were pretty strongly ahead in the game, but Team Sloth Sanctuary after level 10 just popped off, destroying in every single fight. I think they left with a kill and probably with an advantage in all of them. That's amazing stuff.
And you know, BabyRage looked so strong in the first half of that game. Like we were saying, they've got the bottom lane control, they had the core hit point advantage, they had a mine XP disadvantage, and you know, it was just one or two fights that really swung it in the Sloth Sanctuary's favor. And like you were saying in game number 1, when these teams get killed, when they get a hero kill advantage, they really know how to press the strategic play. And we saw Sloth Sanctuary, as soon as they got a team wipe on the enemy, they took level 20, they took boss, they took the bottom lane back, and really took control of the game from that point. And then you really felt that BabyRage were on the back foot for the rest of the game. And ultimately, that level 20, the desperation soaking, is because Malthael was split from the enemy team, and of course the phenomenal wind tunnel that secured that final victory fight for Sloth Sanctuary. Well played to them.
Now, we're not the only ones shocked with how amazingly both of the teams were playing, not the only ones a bit stunned with the performance, as Sloth Sanctuary will actually request a 5-minute break to recollect themselves before the last game of the series.
Yeah, they've got to have a shower from, you know, the sweat that's been going on.
I don't think 5 minutes is enough for a shower, but I could definitely see buying a towel in a shop.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's phenomenal play from both these teams. This is really exciting quarterfinal, and I have to say, whichever of these teams goes through to the semi-final, they're going to provide some serious competition for whoever they go up against. And that's a good question. Who will that be? That will be either Divor Delete versus Gina the Frost Mage. I believe that match is still going on right now over on twitch.tv/Heroes Lounge. But don't go anywhere, because we've got the deciding game in this best of 3 between Sloth Sanctuary and BabyRage coming up in just a couple of minutes. I mean, Yosh, tell us, I mean, a little bit, like, who was the favourite coming into this? Like, Sloth Sanctuary have done very well in the group stages, haven't they?
I mean, Sloth Sanctuary do have an advantage with them being first seen, and they actually have a bit of a history playing together against each other, with Team BabyRage having an advantage in Division 4, being 6th place team with Sloth Sanctuary on 7. And in their fight, which they have actually fought together in the Division 4 in round 3, where Team BabyRage have secured a 2-0 victory. So
that's got to be a bit intimidating for Sloth Sanctuary. But on the other hand, Sloth Sanctuary finished top of their group in the group stage of the playoffs, and
so
BabyRage finished only second in their group. So
BabyRage were way better in the time when round 3 was played, but right now the form of Sloth Sanctuary is probably a little bit better, but both teams have just proven that they can go at it, take a shot, and just keep snowballing the games.
Well, I've got news for those who are wondering about game number 3, because the third map is going to be Tomb of the Spider Queen, as picked by Team BabyRage. And you viewers can see that on screen at the moment. They picked all the maps so far in this series, because it seems like they prefer map pick, and their opponents preferred first pick when they've had the chance. So
now, Tomb of the Spider Queen is actually a pretty interesting case, because when you open up the maps Stat for a team, you usually can see that they prefer to pick certain maps. But in case of Tomb of the Spider Queen, it's actually a map that's preferred to pick against, as it was picked 7 times against Sloth highlights with
It's funny because
following.
Typhoon Hawk just asked that in the match lounge. She was like, "Is there like a big conspiracy to always pick Team of the Spider Queen against Sloth Sanctuary?" So maybe I don't know. Maybe there is a conspiracy, and all the teams who go against them are like, "You got to pick Team of the Spider Queen." They hate it. They hate it. But what is their win? What is the Sloth Sanctuary win rate on Team of the Spider Queen? Do we know that?
They actually have more than 57% win rate, which is their third lowest out of the maps that they have played, but 4 out of 7 when they haven't picked it yet is pretty good to me.
Well, and we'll see what they have in mind here for this game number 3. I mean, I think I don't know. I mean, who would you guess is the most likely to win as we go into the game in game number 3?
Now, Doom's Spider Queen is a map that has been even advertised kinda as a brawl in the toilet due to how small the map is. And the mechanic is pretty snowbally, so with the way Team BabyRage has been dominant in the early game, I do think that they will take a huge advantage in going into the Spider Queen. Now, let's check the stats for Team BabyRage. They have played the Spider Queen 3 times. Would you like to guess how many maps they have won out of 3?
I'm gonna guess 3.
Actually,
3 out of 3.
only 1.
Oh, really? So it's not gone well for them, Team of the Spider Queen.
And that's not a map that they prefer to pick, as they have picked it only once, with the rest being picked against them. No. I guess there's just a bit of conspiracy against Lost Sanctuary to pick Tomb every time, because even if it isn't the strongest map of Team BabyRage, actually it's our weakest map out of the maps that they have played.
I just have to get you in the lobby. Sorry, 1 second.
Yeah, sorry. Actually,
There we are.
join the lobby.
So I think yes, we're almost ready to go into game number 3. I mean, I don't know. I've just got no idea what's going to happen in this game, and I think it'll be a lot draft dependent. I think we might see Chen come out again, unless he gets target banned.
I don't think we will see Chen come out again, but
Do you think he'll get banned or not? Just not picked?
I do predict that Chen will get banned with the amount of hate that he had accumulated and the amount of plays that he has made in the fast map. I think that should convince Sloth Sanctuary too.
I tell you what, the Twitch chat is definitely in favor of Sloth Sanctuary so far. There must be some BabyRage supporters in the chat. Make some BabyRage faces, viewers.
So, let me guess. On Heroes Launch official stream, Heroes Launch staff members are rooting for a Heroes Launch staff team.
That's probably.
If that isn't a conspiracy,
but
I don't know what is.
We're going to have a bet. We're going to run a betting contest. You can bet virtual points, which mean nothing, on who will win this quarterfinal. There's game 3 in this quarterfinal, and you can type !bet A and a number of points to bet on Sloth Sanctuary, or !bet B and a number of points to bet on Team BabyRage. And if you want to know how many points you got, type !points.
While we were setting up, Golden will find his way into bans already. Followed up by ETC. Teams not willing to let these picks through, as I believe they have been banned the entire time. Oriel will be the second ban, recognizing the potential of the Oriel Vola combo, which has been played so perfectly in the game 1.
Yeah, and I get the impression from the Gul'dan bans as well that probably BabyRage like to play Gul'dan Oriel a lot, and that the Gul'dan's been banned against them every single game in this series so far. So I think that's just trying to deny those comfort picks from BabyRage, as Junkrat had a very sensible ban there, because Junkrat was devastating in game number 1. Paradox picking up the Joanna, probably the best tank on this map, I'd have to say.
Yes, with a lot of potential to wave clear, with a lot of survivability, which is even more important on this map. And we see Johanna getting counter pick kinda with a Garrosh and Jaina to secure the blow up afterwards. I can imagine Team BabyRage actually picking Ring, as the map is so small and the fights so close.
So one thing that's been really interesting to me in this series so far, and by the way, I'll get on to the Sylvanas pick in just a second, been interesting is that both these teams like to play the same heroes as each other, and there's been a bit of back and forth on the hero picks, but they play them in a kind of different style. And so, for example, you saw Joanna take Iron Skin when played by Paradox, but take Laws of Hope when picked by Aesthetic, and kind of changing the way they do it. And I wonder if the Jaina will be like that, where Ramax's Jaina might be more Ring of Frostish, let's say.
Seeing Decadent Vengeance probably once again on the big Rhaegar plan in the second phase, but proving that Decadent in the second game was absolutely crucial with all of the stay whiles, and Malfurion will be the return band trying to cheese away the heal or something. Totally misclick, because I don't think that Team BabyRage would prefer Malfurion over Rhaegar, but I can definitely see it with the roots being so huge on this map in comparison to the map itself.
Yes, absolutely. I'm just going to find out what's going on in the other bracket series, but while we do, that's an Anduin pick and a Chen, of course. So we said they might target ban the Chen. They've allowed it through, and Yakin says, well, if you're going to let me play Chen, I'm going to do so.
Well, that's a Leoric versus Chen offlane, which certainly doesn't trigger any memories so far. Peacock and Anduin is actually picked, which was probably the other of the heals that Tiny Owl played, because I've seen Tiny Owl play Anduin in that previous encounter versus Team BabyRage. I guess in just they're trying to force Tiny Owl on Rhaegar. Let's see which heroes they will try to counter him with. And of course Tychus to deal with the Chen and the Garrosh. Hanzo will finish out.
I think that's a reasonable last pick, and it just sort of rounds the draft off nicely. I think both of these teams have sort of well-rounded drafts. Certainly the draft of Sloth Sanctuary looks more focused on bursting a single target, and that single target is probably going to be a tank. Like Sylvanas and Tychus can cut through a Garrosh or a Chen pretty easily, to be honest. And I think Garrosh has got to worry for his life quite a lot this game, and Anduin's going to have his work cut out for him.
Now, if the combo for the side of Team BabyRage will hit just right, it will be potentially devastating. Dragon Arrow into Ring of Frost with Earthwind Fire, putting damage in on all of that, with probably even Light Bomb pick for the Anduin, as you just put that on Kharis to secure and engage. Or even on Chen, who just moves in by himself a lot.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think this could be... Yeah, I think this could be a very interesting game indeed as we go into game number 3 in this best of 3. So it's the decider in this quarterfinal. Whoever wins this is going through to the semi-final. Whoever loses it is out. Let's take a look at the teams. On the right, in red, it is, of course, Team BabyRage with Aesthetic on the Garrosh, Yakin on that Chen that was so devastating in game number 1, Ramax on the Jaina this time, Missandei on Anduin, and Flippers on Hanzo.
And on the other side, we see Conspiracy Receivers on in the face of Sloth Sanctuary with Paradox on Johanna, Dendro on Leoric, Minty on Tychus, Tiny Owl on Rhaegar once again, and Typhon Hawk on Sylvanas.
Yeah, absolutely. And so immediately there's some blows being traded here in the mid lane, but not really anything too exotic. Both teams playing a bit cautiously. And again, the Joanna, yeah. So we're seeing the Joanna focus on the Iron Skin reduction, cooldown reduction on level 1. And Tiny Owl going for the Lightning Shield talents, whereas, like we talked about, the previous Rhaegar went for the Bullet Run talents. Or maybe that was Tiny... No, that wasn't Tiny Owl, that was...
Yes.
Yeah,
Now,
it was
the
Missandei, yeah.
interesting... No teams are trying to cheese each other so far, which is definitely a welcome change from Division 6 and Division 7, where a lot of teams try to go for some form of cheese. Like, try to get some advantage on bot, just go as 5s there, push some towers, but the closest to it we can see is Sloth Sanctuary putting 2 peoples on bot to put some pressure on Yakin.
Yes, and I like this rotation down towards the bottom camp, where it looks like Sloth Sanctuary are going to secure the first siege camp of the game and get that rolling in the bot lane. Just keep the gradual pressure there, and it gives a little bit more XP as well. It's another source of XP income, so to speak. Oh, and in the top lane though.
Up on Johanna, but she will manage to stay alive on just 80 HP and moves back to base.
A casual 80 HP there from Paradox, who also, by the way, has previously casted Heroes Lounge. So yeah, a lovely escape there. I like this siege camp idea from Sloth Sanctuary. I think they're looking fairly in control of the map. Obviously, you know, the BabyRage used that that time to try and put a bit of pressure onto Joanna.
And we have another brawl in the mid lane. Teams will just trade blows without any significant damage done to either of them, ready to fight again any moment. But gonna say that there's a bit of a numbers advantage for Sloth Highlands fighting 4 versus 3, as Hanzo has been relegated to the bot lane to defend against the siege camp.
Yep, and with that's required a bit of pressure there. But the problem is, well, not the problem. I was going to say the result actually at the end of the day is everything is fairly equal. XP is equal, gems collected are equal. There's slightly more gems turned in by BabyRage, and in fact they're going to get another 12 in now, making them very close to a hand in. And that rotation gank onto Chen by Leoric will turn the tides, maybe in favor of Sloth Sanctuary.
Sloth Sanctuary looking to turn in the remaining 3 gems, but Team BabyRage will just deny every opportunity so far. And let me take a second to talk about our Lord and Savior siege camp, because while the icons on the map may tell you otherwise, I do certainly believe that it's the scarier camp out of the 2 flavors found on this map, as siege camp is just so devastating to face against in the early game, and it doesn't have any opposition camp to counter it.
Yeah, and they the thing is that Bruiser camp in the mid lane, I'm not sure the wave clear is there. Okay, you've got the Jaina for the wave clear, but without Hanzo coming up, Hanzo is going to rotate now, but while he's doing that, it means he can't stop the hand in, and Tigers bursts in, looking to try and catch Flappers, but he jumps safely over the wall. But look at the space that's allowed Paradox to hand in 29 gemmies, and Dentro to follow. That's going to be the first turn in, going over to Sloth Sanctuary. No, it's not!
No!
The cast occurs, and Yakin...
Yakin in the last second, he will die for his troubles, but the deny is there, and it will buy some time for Team BabyRage to potentially pay some of theirs in the top lane, where they only have 8 gems to pay.
Have you done in time, Jaina? Cheeky!
She will manage to get it.
Cheeky play from Rumex there on the Jaina. I love that. I love everything about that. Chen was like, yeah, I'm going to stop this hand in. He gave his life for it, and we thought, well, now they've got, Sloth Sanctuary surely can hand in. But the space, the use of space and just pulling people apart there by BabyRage.
Brain denied by Yakin trading his life for an opportunity to get the first objective. And getting the first objective is really good on the maps like these, because you get the push, you get the lanes pushed out, which means that the return objective won't be so strong as the spiders will have to go through the waves.
Tigers! Oh, just about gets away. Sorry, yes, you're absolutely right. And the other thing, the reason they've done it is for the deny, because of course while these web weavers are going, the blue web weavers are not, and I think BabyRage are a bit afraid of Sylvanas pushing with a web weaver phase. Oh, Yakin, have you overstayed your welcome? Tychus is coming down for you, my love. But no, jumps away safely enough and uses that Brewmaster's balanced movement speed to get away.
Some pretty clutch plays on this map as well, and Sylvanas finally shown her face on the side that's not Team BabyRage, which kinda changes the dynamic a bit, as right now it's Sloth highlights with an early game lead, with half a level lead leading into level 10.
And it's not just that, but also having got a hand then, BabyRage only secured one tower. And that's basically the same as the camp has done for Sloth Sanctuary in the bottom lane. So the Handen didn't really get anything there for BabyRage, and now with the level 10, Sloth Sanctuary can get theirs, and they've got a Sylvanas.
So that small delay that Team BabyRage got is turned against them, as Sloth Sanctuary will find their power spike in level 10, and with which they can certainly find some place. Now we see Entomb from Leoric, Wailing Arrow from Sylvanas, and Odin from Tychus, Ancestral Healing from Rhaegar, and Blessed Shield from Johanna.
And for the red team, now they have their ults. It's the Boogie Wonderland, Storm, Earth and Fire from Chen, the Dragon's Arrow from Hanzo, the Ring of Frost, as you rightly predicted, from Jaina. Oh, as Tychus gets thrown in and taunted into the fort, can they kill him? The light bomb's there from Garrosh, but the Ancestral just about hits onto Minty. Minty's still alive, phenomenal cleanse and heal from Tiny Owl, but Joanna has given her life trying to protect the Tychus' escape route.
And yeah, the plan is to go all in on the combo with Light Bomb and Ring of Frost to put it up, even if Ring of Frost wasn't used in this engage. The combined stunning force of Dragon Arrow and Light Bomb was enough to kill Johanna here.
Yeah, and oh, Sylvanas been thrown in. Oh, lovely escape there from Typhoon Hawk, who now is going to try and hand in his 20 gemmies. He'll get those in safely enough.
Sloth Sanctuary actually have enough for a second turn, as does Team BabyRage. No one will try to intercept Flaps, as he will manage to get 33 gems in. That's huge.
The Blessed Shield into Entomb, but the Anduin save, but now there's nothing for Aesthetic. The Light Bomb might heal him just about, and he's got a little bit of shield, stays alive for now. The Chen ult comes out, Chen's going in, the Ring of Frost hits onto 4 members, is brutal. Can Joanna be killed down to 400 HP? She has to sit back, but the Chen ult can't finish her off, and that means it's actually 2 kills for nothing.
Grinds the end of the fight.
The Odin, so spectacular. I mean, it looked like BabyRage did everything right there. They got the beautiful Hanzo escape from given by Anduin. They got the nice light bomb engage followed by a Ring of Frost. But I think the Garrosh being so low, and of course Tychus and Sylvanas can make such short work of him, that
everything went right for Team BabyRage in this fight, but if I got to factor in one more thing, Sloth highlights are just set much better on low health pass.
Absolutely, as we've said before. Oh, now Garrosh has to be careful. This is the thing: is every time he is slightly far forward, he gets punished. One talent I was going to comment on, which is a bit, a little bit surprising, is the bigger they are on Tychus, which kind of has a sort of anti-synergy with Garrosh, against Garrosh, because with the lower Garrosh is, the more you want % damage against him, but when Garrosh is very low, the minigun won't work against him. Oh, the Blessed Shield, can they punish the Garrosh? No, they can't. Enough healing from Anduin for now. So maybe the bigger they are isn't focused on that Garrosh, it's more about killing everyone else, which it does so effectively.
Aesthetic brings in Cholhana wasn't probably the right option, as Light Bomb goes wide as well because Leoric was in and Chain will pay the price.
She got a huge ring out again onto Rhaegar, but they just can't secure those kills, and Garrosh has to be so careful. Yakin going in very deep. He's got 36 gemmies. If he didn't get his ult off there, that would have been a disaster. He did, though. Now he can start looking to put pressure. Is Typhoon Hawk going to die? Doesn't have any escapes left. The Chen's all over him, 100 HP, but they can't finish the job, and Chen has to retreat with 36 gems. If he dies here, it's an absolute disaster for BabyRage. Garrosh goes into heal. But Aesthetic will eventually fall as well, and that is ultimately another lost fight and a lost keep for Team BabyRage.
That's gonna feel so bad for Misandry. Oh, sorry. For Ramax hitting this big ice ring of frosts every single fight just to have no follow-up whatsoever to kill any target actually caught in it. That's gonna be a huge deal there.
Yeah, I mean, if we look at the hero damage, Hanzo's putting out, you know, the most hero damage in the game by some margin. Like, no one else is even coming close. So definitely Hanzo is putting out damage there, but it's just not all coordinated on the same targets. That's the impression I get. And it looks like Dentro on Leoric is doing a fantastic job of soaking up a lot of that damage. And then, you know, he's Leoric, he sort of doesn't care a little bit. And the heals from Tiny Owl are keeping them well and truly alive. But they're still on even talents here. Can BabyRage take a fight and take back the initiative in this game? Apparently, no.
Apparently, the amount of damage doesn't necessarily correlate with kill pressure, which doesn't necessarily correlate with the amount of kills that you get. Because the only kills that Team BabyRage has managed to acquire so far was done by Kharis, which is interesting. And yeah, the amount of kill pressure that Team BabyRage has is also insane with Jaina and Hanzo and the throws by Kharis, but just not focused enough to get the kills.
Oh, Garrosh goes in, gets the taunt, has to be saved by Anduin though because Tychus is tearing him to pieces. I think Garrosh shouldn't panic so much over a low HP bar because the minigun doesn't hurt him there because of that, the bigger they are talent. I don't know. He's got to be a bit careful though because that's an entomb and there's no. Oh, the throw onto Leoric's not going to do that much though.
No ring to follow up. No ring to follow that up.
Yeah, but Shin goes in with his ult, starts trying to put pressure, but the Odin is just tearing him to pieces. Yes, Tychus gets caught in the ring, but gets a cleanse and will be fine for now. Ancestral onto Dentro keeps him alive. I thought Dentro was for sure a goner, but he's going in. He's going in to cause a problem here, and they're still pushing onto this key. With the help of the Sylvanas Black Arrows, they can dive pretty far here. Tiny Owl gets thrown in towards the core, but not quite in range of it. Now they're looking to chase her. Can they catch her? But the taunt onto Sylvanas, but the damage isn't following up on these taunts. It's a little bit split here for BabyRage, and they've lost another keep, and of course they're still 2 levels down.
And that's the second kill for Team BabyRage in the end of the fight, finally getting some big offs, which will be enough to justify having
that crucial pick on Joanna is absolutely everything they needed because it's got them back into this game. It's got them the Web Weavers, it's got them the level 16, and suddenly they've got a little bit of initiative. The problem is though, they've already gone 5 structures down, and you can't make up 5 structures with 1 Web Weaver push unless you start getting some kills, which they're going to have to do without the help of the channels.
And the way scarier part of that is not just being 5 structures down, but the lanes being pushed in, which will deny a huge chunk of the Web Weavers before they get into the opposing walls.
Yeah, so I think probably Sloth Sanctuary are feeling pretty confident even though BabyRage have this Web Weaver push. It's going to go mid-fort. They probably will get the mid-fort, I suspect. Throws Dentro in, gets the taunt.
That's an engage on Leoric, getting killed pretty much instantly with the taunt, not allowing him to E away. Let's see how they will manage to force the advantage with the pickup.
Yeah, that was a good kill for BabyRage. It's more like the BabyRage we saw in game number 1. Here they go again, looking for a Joanna.
Use Iron Skin will be enough to stay away. With that advance as well. Now, the big thing that the Web Weavers did is depush lanes, which is a pretty huge advantage, even if they don't get much in terms of structures.
I think taking 2 forts off as well will take a little bit of the... Oh, and here he goes for another throw onto Lyric again. Lyric just gets melted.
Down once more as Kharis is traded away by Ender, and the fight is on. Ring of Frost misses everyone's stam. Let's see if it will work the other way around and they will actually find more kills. Apparently not.
Yeah, and now suddenly BabyRage wanting to retreat, but they have 114 gems. I suspect they're going to use the dead Lyric to try and hand in. But Garrosh does not have a great HP to go in. Looks, throws Joanna away to try and create space for two. But oh, the Wailing Arrow! That Wailing Arrow is absolutely huge. But so is the Hanzo Arrow.
Used his Dragon Arrow with Light Bomb used as well. Flaps will actually die for it, dropping 44 gems on the floor. That's absolutely huge. Ramax will be the next target with Yakin and
this is an absolute disaster for.
And with that,
BabyRage.
Sloth Sanctuary can actually core. The wave is moving in on top, which won't be fast enough for them, so they will just move in with Leoric and Johanna to tank.
You know, the slightly sad thing is that at the end of that, BabyRage didn't even lose their gems. Miss Endai is still carrying them all, but it's just not enough. That's not going to stop. You know, you can't stop a core push with gems alone and an Anduin. And this is going to be surely GG. Although, having said that, Hanzo's back up in 0 seconds. He doesn't have his ult for 10 seconds. GG's been called. It's 2-1 to Sloth Sanctuary. They go through to the semi-finals.
Well played by Isa team, and this victory was definitely a statement, as Sloth Sanctuary are showing that mods are to be feared of, already banning one.
I mean, beautiful plays from Sloth Sanctuary. They looked a lot more confident here in game number 3 than they did in games number 1 and even 2, to be honest. And I really felt like BabyRage were on the back foot here. On the other hand, BabyRage did have some moments when they came back into it and they were finding those tank kills again and again. But credit to Sloth Sanctuary for that engage when they knew Lyric was dead. Like, so they knew they were 45 effectively, and they said, look, our enemies have got no ults left, they've got no HP left because they just had a long skirmish, and we don't allow them to hand in. Found a huge Wailing Arrow onto Hanzo, who fell pretty low. And, you know, it was a chaotic fight at the end, but ultimately it was secured by Sloth Sanctuary. They go through to the semi-finals against somebody who is still to be determined. Yeah, Dive Elite versus James Frostmage is still going on over on Lounge 1. So we'll probably throw over to them. So,
yeah, the match dynamic went actually pretty similar to the first 2 games, with Sloth highlights being a bit weaker in the early game and ramping up to the late game, but this time they have managed to sneak away Sylvanas, which have assured them to have a bit of a lead in early game, which just snowballed into unstoppable force in the late game. Team BabyRage being a bit too aggressive with their play, a bit too aggressive with their attempt to turn in champs, cost them the game and the series. Well played.
Well played indeed from both of these teams. From both of these teams, to be honest.
Sanctuary.
Sloth Sanctuary, yeah, you've been calling them Sloth Idols, but yeah, Sloth Sanctuary, yeah, phenomenal play from them. I think that's all from the two of us for now.
Yeah, that's been our series for today. It was a pretty interesting one. It was a 3-game one, so can't really be disappointed with that. So yeah, on that point, I guess we'll just end.
Yes, so thank you, Yosh, for casting with me. I will be back for the semi-final of Sloth Sanctuary versus, apparently it is Dive or Delete, for that second semi-final a bit later on in a couple of hours over on the main channel, twitch.tv/Heroes Lounge, where we're going to send you now with a host/raid. And but Yosh, I think that's all from you for today, isn't it? And where can people find you on the internet if they want to watch more of your casting?
You don't really want to watch more of my casting, honestly. Twitch TV/YoshiTales, I guess, with an 1 instead of an I, and yeah. It's a bit of a problem. So yeah, good luck, have fun. It's
Okay.
mandatory.
Thank you for joining me, Yosh, and thank you everyone at home for watching. Go watch Twitch.tv/Heroes Lounge. I'll host you over there in a second, and you'll see me later on today. Goodbye.